Posted by u/throw ra_86739. Years before I met my husband, I was in such a toxic, abusive relationship that it almost ended my life. I spent years in therapy, bettering myself and figuring out why I accepted that type of love. I stayed single for years, and once I started dating, I made sure to keep an eye out for all red flags. Heck, I even took things slowly when there was nothing but green flags. Thanks to my ex, I was familiar with love bombing. I met my husband at a work event, and things just fell into place. I opened up, explained my past trauma, and let him know that if we were going to date, it would require a slow pace and patience. I won't say that he was perfect, but he was always kind, compassionate, and caring. We dated for about 5 years, were engaged for 1, and have been married for a little over 3 years now. We recently bought our second home together, and we both got promotions at work, so we sat down and talked about having kids. He wanted a big family, and I only wanted 1 or 2. We agreed on 2, and, well, started trying. It didn't take long, and here I am, 6 months pregnant, still working, with swollen ankles and a back that won't stop aching. Other than that, I've been very happy and have what I thought was a supportive husband. 3 weeks ago, I found out that he was having an emotional affair, and honestly, probably a physical one. When confronted with the evidence, he admitted to not being attracted to me while I'm pregnant. I feel completely wrecked. I haven't gained unnecessary weight, and I still take care of myself, even with the morning sickness that hasn't gone away. He's not sorry about it, but he told me I was being overdramatic when I cried. He is staying with his family until he can find a place to rent. He doesn't want to get a divorce. He says after the pregnancy is over, we can go to therapy and fix things. I don't want to. I cannot physically look this man in the eye anymore without feeling disgust. I have a text from him saying that he's my only option because no man wants to date a single mom. I'll be talking to a lawyer and figuring out how to divorce him. I just wanted to vent into the void today. For now, I'm going to order some nuggies and a Frosty, and I'll be totally okay if I gain 5 pounds from it. Up in the comments. He was telling a very young, naive woman how hot she was, how he couldn't wait to touch her body, and telling her he loved her, but then claimed they never met. He would complain to her that I wasn't fun anymore. There were obviously pictures sent back and forth based on the comments, but the pictures were deleted. I asked him about all his overtime at work, and he couldn't give me straight answers, which points to the physical aspect of things. This man went from working maybe 40 hours a week to 60, and I may be dealing with pregnancy, but I'm not stupid. Update 2 days later. I was told I'm not allowed to change the locks because it's his home as well, and he came over last night knowing there wasn't much I could do to stop him. Thankfully, he only grabbed some personal belongings, threatened to take the dogs, he didn't, and let me know he had emptied our shared account. Part of me rolled my eyes, figuring he wasn't dumb enough to do that, and the other part made a mental note to check it once he left. Sure enough, our account has maybe $5 in it. He did a transfer, which I'll be calling the bank about, and I'm speaking to an attorney this afternoon. Thankfully, my dad taught me not to fully mix finances, so my savings weren't touched. While it's not a lot, it's enough to cover the fees for the next few weeks. I don't have any family left, so I think he's trying a power play to make me feel like I'm alone and need him. In reality, it's lit a fire under me, and I know I don't want or need such a garbage person in my life. Thank you to everyone who has reached out with comments, kind messages, and helpful advice. Edit. He showed up yesterday, completely drunk, begging to talk, and his anger kept increasing when I ignored him and walked away. It escalated to the point where I grabbed my bag and decided to walk down the road to a neighbor's house so I wouldn't be alone. He grabbed my arm to stop me, and when I yanked it away, he slapped me. The cops were called, but since I didn't have a mark on my face, it became a case of my word against his. They escorted him off the property, and I assume he's now back with his parents. He did throw a fit about the dogs and has proof of ownership, so I'm guessing he'll be able to take them. I went to leave for a drive to clear my head after everything and realized that 3 of my 4 tires were flat. I know it was him, but I don't have proof. Insurance won't cover it, so I'm going to a tire shop on Friday morning. Just another drop in the bucket. As for the attorney, I've had my consultation, and I'm waiting for my check to come in so I can schedule my actual appointment and get the ball rolling on this. I have a few close friends who are kept in the loop, but I don't want to burden them or treat them like unpaid therapists. I think that's why I came back to Reddit. There's something therapeutic about just typing it all out into the void. The pregnancy is okay, I've actually lost weight, and the doctor has told me to avoid stressful situations and take things easy. I'll be calling to see if I can change the locks on the home now, and if not, I'm going to start looking for places. Second update 4 days later. He broke in late last night. I was able to contact the police before confronting him, but due to the location, I knew it would take them a while to arrive. I tried walking by him to leave the house, but every time I did, he shoved me, once hard enough that I stumbled and fell backward. The eerie part is that he never once yelled. He threw things, one of which hit me and caused an emergency room visit that required stitches. He said the most vile things, that he hated me, that I should off myself, how useless I was, yet he never raised his voice. I'm not saying that in a good way. I wish he would have yelled. It triggered a fight or flight instinct, and I found out mine was to freeze. I hate that about myself. He was arrested, but his mother already bailed him out. I'm staying at a hotel, thanks to a work advance, and looking into apartments. I won't be setting foot in the home we shared until my best friend is with me, and even then, only with police presence. Nobody can figure out what made him change almost overnight. The only thing I can guess is some kind of psychotic break, but I'm not a therapist or doctor. Besides some ugly bruises and stitches, both the baby and I are fine. My lawyer feels confident that this is enough to get a protection order for myself, and it will include the pregnancy/baby. Next time I see him will be in court. Sorry if I'm rambling and not making much sense. For now, I'm safe and can finally sleep well for the first time in weeks. I have the dogs, and nobody knows where I am except for one close person and the police. Third update 1 week later. The police met me at my home to grab personal belongings and pretty much anything else I could carry. Thanks to the user who recommended calling the non-emergency number, everything went smoothly. He wasn't home, I didn't have to worry about him showing up, and both officers were very kind. What I walked into, however, wasn't pleasant. It looked like he went on a bender. Bleach on clothes, food everywhere, and personal belongings destroyed, especially the nursery. I was able to salvage a lot of the bigger items and packed what I could. They're now in storage until I move into my new place. I took pictures, and as aggravating as it was, I'm hopeful that they'll be useful as more evidence against him to prevent custody. As for him, he has no way of contacting me other than through my attorney or email, and it's been quiet on both ends. His parents haven't reached out, and honestly, I don't even know what I'd say to them if they did, so no loss there. His girlfriend, yes, girlfriend, as I found out, has been trying to contact me through friends to tell me she's pregnant. I'm not sure if it's true, but at the very least, it confirms the affair and just how well he kept things hidden. Anyway, I'll leave it at this. Thank you all for listening and checking up on me. I'm safe, I'm good, and the pregnancy is the only thing kicking me around right now. I'll make sure to post in a few months to let you all know she's here and that we made it. Fourth update 1 week later. I've read every single message and the majority of the comments. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your advice, and your love. More than a few have offered baby items, groceries, and gift cards. I cannot in good conscience accept any of those, but if you have items lying around, please consider donating them to a charity that helps homeless parents. One comment that stood out was someone asking how I could feel sorry for him. I guess I'm just an empathetic person, maybe to a fault. I wish that if he was so unhappy, he would have just told me. We could have tried to fix things before they became violent, and if it wasn't fixable, we could have still been an amazing co-parents. His girlfriend reached out via email, which was forwarded to me. She's claiming she's pregnant, and for her sake, I hope she's not. She accused me of ruining a good man's reputation and called my injuries self-inflicted. They're even asking for a paternity test, lol. My personal favorite was when she said if my baby is actually his, she hopes her child can grow up with mine and have a sister. Little does she know, I will go to hell and back to make sure that man knows nothing about my daughter. I saw him once while leaving the grocery store. On the outside, I stayed calm, cool, and collected, acted like he was just a stranger I wouldn't give a second look to. On the inside, I was saying oh crap about 500 times and cried in the car afterward. Money situation is fixed now, thanks to a work bonus and promotion, and I bought a new, better living room suite. I'm having a painting party at the end of the month, by the way, you're all invited. Still doing good, still safe, and slowly learning to love my new normal. If you're in a similar situation or an abusive relationship, man or woman, reach out, you're not alone. You don't need to be brave, I'm certainly not. You just need that moment of I can't do this anymore to light the fire. Fifth update 6 months later. Hi, it's been a while since I last posted. Back then, I had swollen ankles, was waddling around, thought every little cramp was a contraction, and felt like my life was falling apart. I want to thank everyone who reached out, even months later, just to check in on a stranger. My daughter is here. For privacy, I'll leave out her date of birth, but she was 6 pounds and 2 ounces, with the most beautiful head of hair I've ever seen. My original posts are still up in case anyone is confused reading this. To say things have been rough would be an understatement. He showed up at the hospital, but thankfully, everyone was aware of the situation, and the hospital staff handled it perfectly. This allowed me to focus on labor and delivery. Unfortunately, the stress of his presence made an already hectic moment even more overwhelming, but things could have been so much worse, and I'm incredibly thankful they weren't. Right now, I'm dealing with about 10 different CPS calls, and they've visited my house on 4 occasions. His family and he have filed for an emergency custody hearing, and because I left the state with my daughter, it gave him a bit of leverage. Unfortunately, the protective order doesn't seem to be helping much in that regard. Thankfully, I'm still on maternity leave, so my focus has been entirely on my daughter and gathering all the evidence I need to ensure he doesn't get any custody, other than possibly supervised visits for an hour. My main concern now is that if he doesn't get custody, his parents might try to go the grandparent rights route. I wish I could say I'm kicking motherhood's rear and taking names, but most of the time I feel like a burnt-out blob. I'm in therapy, and the doctors are keeping an eye on postpartum depression, though my doctor thinks the main cause is the giant hemorrhoid, X, instead. No updates on his girlfriend, but I've kept the dogs, and I think they love the little one just as much as I do. I'm both excited and anxious to see where the next chapter of life takes me.